Welcome, everybody, to the PBMED podcast number 6. I'm your host, Dustin, here again with my co-host, Cody from Carpe Dinkum. What's new, my man?
Man. Other than just, kid not really sleeping so well at night anymore. But pickleball-wise, a lot of great things are new. So that's what we're going to focus on today.
Okay. How old is your daughter now?
8 months.
Okay.
And the witching hour has begun.
Oh, yeah. Wait, it's 10 o'clock our time. So, is she asleep?
Oh, she's out. We kept her up like all day. Gave her a ton of food, and I think this might have to be like the new ritual. It's just like hold her up ever since, like no naps after 4 p.m.
Oh, yeah. Man, and that changes over time too. So, whatever works for you, man. We'll cross our fingers to get through this one.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up one other thing too. I didn't give you heads up on this, so we could cut this out if you don't want me to say it. But in the time that Cody and I brought up our last podcast, Cody passed a milestone.
Boy.
I'm going to try not to cry. Go
ahead. We can leave it in. Yeah, I'm all right with that.
No, so some of you may have seen the article that Matthew Schwartz wrote about Cody. It's over 7 years now that Cody found out that he had we'll see if we keep it in. But anyways,
you're getting more emotional than I am.
No, anyways, you might just have to tell a story. But small cell or a germ cell tumor, lung cancer, a germ cell tumor in your lung, and was told that if he passed 7 years without a recurrence, that he would be considered cured. That happened last Monday.
Yep, the 13th. It was, the full name was primary mediastinum non-seminoma germ cell tumor, which the first few words just means that it was in my chest, attached to my lung, and then, the non-seminoma germ cell tumor. Apparently 20 people in America a year get diagnosed with that type of cancer. So it's like really rare. And they misdiagnosed it at first. And they were going to start me on the wrong chemotherapy. And then we got another diagnosis from another oncologist up in Indiana. And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's actually this," and reached out to my oncologist. Well, my oncologist reached out to him. He was like, "Hey, I have a funny feeling," and so glad he did, because I probably would not be alive if they gave me. It was a similar chemo, but it was not going to be as effective.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
That was good of him to reach out. What did they think it was? Do you remember?
They originally thought that it was essentially like testicular cancer that metastasized on my lung. And then they realized that it was the non-seminoma germ cell tumor. Yeah, because it looked like it had a yolk sac, which being a doctor, he probably gets exactly what all this means. Just like, okay.
No, it's been
just essentially meaning like the outside of it was like hard, but then the inside of it was super like soft and squishy. So they found that on like the scans and everything, and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So it's just a just like testicular cancer that migrated, and then that's when he was like, "Oh, but these tumor markers are really, really high, a lot higher than like typical testicular cancer," and so they reached out to Dr. Einhorn up in Indiana, and he got back, and he was like, "Hey, you guys sent me the wrong results. I think you guys like put one too many zeros," and they're like, "Yeah, no, those are the." And he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's one of the highest I've ever seen." So let's get this right. Let's get him started on the right stuff. And they actually bumped me up 2 weeks. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna start chemo in like August, like the third week of August," and then they're like, "Nope, we're starting now."
Wow, my gosh! And you had multiple rounds of chemo and surgery, and here you
Yeah.
are. And how old is your oldest now?
4. A little over 4
Your
years
oldest
old.
is
Yep.
4, and you have 4. Am I remembering right?
I have 4 kids. Yep.
Yeah.
4-year-old, 2.5-year-old twins, and then the 8-month-old.
So since
Yeah.
then, you've quadrupled your presence on Earth, or times 5, I guess, if you count yourself.
It's been a heck of a journey, and we've been blessed in multiple ways, especially with the kids.
Yeah.
We were like, we're only gonna have 2, and we had the one, and then we had the twins, and we kind of tossed the idea around about like, oh, we hate having an odd number for kids, and so we had to do IVF for the oldest and then the twins, and we're like, well, we're gonna stop at 3, so we didn't do IVF again, and then we found out that we I guess we were destined to have 4 kids. So
4's a great number, man. I think 4 is good, but over the course of 4 years is pretty short too. That's a fast time.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, the
at
twins
one point
help.
we had 4 under 4. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Because what you have the one, and then you have one on the way.
Yeah, 1 and 1 on the way. And before we segue to that next topic, just say again, congrats, man, and good for you and your family.
Thank you.
I'm sure everybody who
Thank you.
listens in is happy for you and grateful for your presence. And just keep tearing up the 3-0 scene, your local tournaments, and you'll be all right. No.
Yeah, I mean, I keep my duper low so that I can enter those like Moneyball tournaments, right?
Yeah, me and you both.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, just sneak in there with your mods and your ripples that you now have, and we'll be okay.
Yeah.
That is a good segue to our next. Sad to happy, and now a little bit.
No, I'm about to cry. You're about to make me cry.
No,
about this topic.
I mean, this is for lots of people know, but my schedule is a bit taxing, and I've got some changes coming up in life as well. So this will probably be Cody and I's last podcast together. My wife, so we have 1 3-year-old and our second on the way. My wife's just a little bit over 8 months, so really any time now. I just started some new rotations through school, nothing crazy, just like diagnostic radiology stuff, and wrapping up med school and whatnot. And I'm not that great of an editor, and the virtual stuff is pretty difficult to manage. So this will probably be Cody and I's last podcast together for the foreseeable future. We'll probably do some more at some point when things settle down, but I think both of us will probably look to do a little bit more stuff in person when we can, maybe some group stuff and some other whatnot. But this will be it for
Definitely
Cody and I for now.
Because you're only like an hour and 45 minutes away, 2 hours, so I'm sure I can take like a day trip, drive down, get some games in.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, Cody's in Richmond, right?
Yep.
I'm getting used to the East Coast stuff, and I'm in Chapel Hill, so we're in North Carolina, so we're moderately close. So we'll see what we can do in the future. But this is our swan song for now.
When I say congrats on the almost here baby, and then congrats on getting out of med school. Right?
Thanks, man. My wife's great. She's for both the incoming child and the one we have, and for our journey. Man, I'm not gonna cry this whole episode, but nothing that I've done or will do would be possible without her. So I'm just
and
looking forward to time with her and the family.
Colin Schick is also he's stepping off of the PPA tour, right, to finish up his med school.
Yeah,
right.
He can't take time off forever, and he's a student here at UNC as well. He came in the class below
both going
me.
to UNC.
Yeah. So I played on the club team here with him, which the UNC club team is awesome. We had like more than 6 5-0s. Myself not included, I suppose, when I first started. He's the class below me, took a year off for PPA, and is coming back next year, so he'll be two classes below me. So he's got another couple of years in med school to do, and is obviously now an even better pickleball player, but soon to be physician as well. So,
Yeah.
lots of wild stuff. Life happens fast.
It does.
All right.
It really does.
Let's do. We got two announcements before we get into. We've got some cool paddles. Let's tie in. Let's tie in last week, and then we'll move more towards this week. So we did a giveaway last week.
Yeah.
Enhance Pickleball and Honolulu both did a giveaway through last week's podcast, and we drew through random number generators our two winners. And thanks everybody for entering and for your support. It's really appreciated, and it's super fun. If people keep entering and people keep liking the giveaways, we'll keep doing them in one form or another. So our two giveaways are the winners. I'll put them in the details below. I'll put them on screen. So the first one, at Matthew Carista 7248. Congratulations. You were the first drawn, so you'll get to pick either an enhanced banger, which is Cody's favorite edgeless paddle and probably mine as well, and or anything from Honolulu Pickleball, which we have some on the docket today too. Our second drawn winner, which is coincidentally a username from Pickleball, at the Drop Pickleball. I'll send both of you emails. At the drop, I'll let you know what Matthew picks first, and you can have second choice. So thank you to both of you for entering and for everybody else for your support. And
congrats.
Let us know if there's anything interesting you want us to give away in the future, because we're open to whatever, and this is fun for us. So and it's a nice way to say thank you. So it's very appreciated.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. One other thing before we talk about our paddles today. So a lot of people are probably aware of the disastrous state of Southern California and the LA region in particular right now. PICKLN for Good, we just reviewed two of their paddles on, was it last week? We did the Electo and the Gen 2?
I think it was the last podcast, yeah.
Yeah, it was either the last one or the one before, which are two awesome budget paddles. But anyways, they're donating 75% of their total profits to the LA Fire Department Foundation. And any paddle that's purchased at a discount through the PBMED discount code will donate 100% of any commission earned on any paddle through PICKLN for Good to the LA Firefighter, or the LAFD Foundation. PICKLN for Good is an LA-based company and doing what they can to support the efforts down there, and it's needed. So thank you to them, and really, if you want to check out any details on their paddles, there's tons of reviews out there, and we talked about them recently as well. So, and if you guys got any questions, let us know in the comments, and we'll cover them. Anything to add there, Cody?
Just that I also changed my discount code to be 100%. Of any commission to go back into those charities.
Yeah. Once again, Cody's got your back. Carpe Dinkum. Spell that for us, Cody.
Yep. CARPEDINKEM.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Carpe Dinkum or PBMED for a discount on any of those paddles. All those profits from us will be donated, and then the majority of PICKLN's profits will be put towards that foundation as well. So let's one more topic before we get into paddles, which kind of is a good segue. I hear we have a main paddle switch for you, Cody, as of recent.
Oh.
Tell us about that.
So it's I'm kind of undecided between the two up until this morning.
Ooh,
my
I
new
don't know
paddle
this.
prop was going to be the Rev Zeus. A longtime listener, I guess you could say, convinced me to give the Zeus some more time. Added some weight, moved some weight around, and then I threw a flick weight on the bottom of it, which really helped balance that out. And it really not opened up as in the paddle broke in, but the paddle itself it felt like it opened up a little bit more. Super versatile paddle, good power on big drives, and then good pop, still very maneuverable, which is my kind of game. And so the Rev Zeus was great. And then I got the Ronbus Ripple in the mail, and I played with that for a few hours this morning, and it's the available power that it has is great. and we can talk about it more.
It's
but
pretty sickening.
So
it's pretty sickening, honestly.
It's
to be fair, right?
It honestly is.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have to put more than 60% of effort behind the ripple, and again, we could talk about it some more. But so I might be transitioning towards the ripple at this point, but I was a Rev Zeus for a solid week and a half.
Yeah,
until this morning.
Which
and
is
now I'm
interesting
kinda
because you
questioning
were
which way to go.
using the Vatic Pro Saga, if I'm remembering right, before that, right?
Well, I was doing the Saga, and then I went to the Alpha 1 from 11.6, 24,
that's right.
which is very similar, but just elongated, slightly less heavy, and a longer handle. And then I went to the Zeus, because the pop and power for that in singles, or in doubles, which weirdly in singles I like a little bit of a softer paddle, and because I don't go for big drives like passing shots in singles. I go for the corners of the non-volley zone and just like a drop, like a dripping drop, like a drip drop, whatever you want to call it, that hybrid towards those corners trips up so many people. And that's my shot. And then that lets me get into the kitchen and be able to control the point from there.
Sure.
And so I typically go for like a softer, either like Gen 1.5 type paddle for singles. And then, cause I found if I have a lot of power in a paddle in singles, I sail the ball way deep. Yeah. But anyways, so I was using the Alpha 1, a lot. And then I moved to the Rev Zeus.
Yeah, and now you've decided you're a menace, and you've gone full power.
And now I decided that I want everybody to be terrified of me.
And they would be, yes.
Yeah, but no. So I would have the Zeus and showing it off again. But a buddy of mine who was a mod user is trying it out for a little bit.
That bastard. Mod using bastard. No, I'm just kidding. That's fair.
I'd rather have him using.
Fine.
Yeah, I'd rather have him using the Zeus than the mod.
Yeah. So. We covered. So we talked about the Rev Zeus. It's a cool paddle. We covered that a few podcasts ago. I cut mine all apart, so I haven't used it since. But I ordered another one actually because it keeps coming up and people keep asking questions about it. And I think it's showing a lot of promise. So I just ordered my own, and it'll be interesting to see. If there's any changes between one that I just ordered myself, just without telling anybody, and the difference between that and the one the manufacturer sent to me, because sometimes there really is, like in terms of swing weight, twist weight, and gross weight stuff. Sometimes they handpick those for us, and not that I would suggest that necessarily they did, but it's always interesting for me to see if there's any differences in just some general paddle that I bought. Let's talk about our first update. And we don't have to be too long on this one because people know a bit about it already, but we do have, and we can take money on whether or not people think that this date will stay. But it does look very promising that we have a new Ronbus Ripple release date, at least only for the R1.14. Dong had been, the owner of Ronbus, was told that the R1 passed the PBCoR testing, but had not received any written documentation or any proof of the matter. So he was holding off until he had that written proof, and he got it. Yeah. And so now we have the new, maybe you can see this. I'll put it a little closer on the camera.
I was going to say, show it up to
the light. You can see that now they have their own printed PBCoR 0.43 on the front, which, if you don't know, that literally is the upper limit of what the PBCoR testing allows is 0.43. It's essentially a pop test. Anything over 0.43 is not considered legal. It means the ball recoils off the face too fast after they launch a ball at it or whatever. And so by testing standards, the new production level Ronbus R1.14, which is different than the beta ones that were out that a lot of people have tried already, is at that threshold of legal and will now hit the streets to bully and menace and cause problems for people everywhere on the 31st, yes, of this month. So like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you knew this or not, but going forward, apparently companies have to have that PBCoR 43 printed, certified.
Oh.
Is that what it says? PBCoR 43 certified? Yeah, printed on them. I don't think they said like how it needs to be printed or anything. It just needs to be like in the same area as the
interesting.
USAP Pickleball certified logo, whatever. So yeah, I've seen like some gearboxes that have that printed on them. And then a couple other companies were like saying that they had to like reach out to their factory real quick and be like, hey, throw this on there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I did hear that Gearbox made their own little stamp. I do wonder if companies will be putting whatever their numbers are on there, or if this is just, or
I don't think so.
Or if this was coincidence that it's PBCoR 0.43 and that is literally its PBCoR, numerical rating for the Ronbus, but that's what it is. And
I would be incredibly surprised if companies started putting like what the result of theirs was.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
that's not realistic. But you'll have to tell me your experience, Cody. Well, first, did you play with the beta ripples at all? The ones, is this the only ripple you've used?
Very, very minimally. I played with the beta, and I also played with the R116 ripple. In the very minimal
interesting
amount of time that it was released.
Yeah.
That one hit like a bazooka. The beta that I tried, I wasn't like taken aback per se with that one. I was like, okay, yeah, it's got some good power, got some good pop. So I'm not sure if it was just how it was weighted up or how much it was
with the
used
beta
or
ripple.
what.
With the beta ripple, you mean?
Yeah.
Before this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it had some good. I thought it had some good power behind it, but I wasn't like shocked. This one, I was like, yeah, if I go 100% on a drive, it's hard for me to keep the ball in.
Yeah, I don't. If you weren't, taken back by the pop of the beta ripple, which I was, you definitely would be with this one. So there are changes. It's not just that it's now approved and it wasn't approved before. And this has been a long time coming, and it's gone through several iterations. But even if you just numerically look at it, I'll just read them. So on the beta ripple, which I had for a while, it was super light. So the gross weight on that one was 7.75 ounces. Swing weight was 108. And these are elongated paddles. They've got a round top, but for a fully elongated paddle at a swing weight of 108, super light. Twist weight was 5.37, which we don't necessarily need to digress now, but paddles that are Gen 3, Gen 4, with more foam than typical in the core, you can expect them to have better sweet spots, I suppose, than twist weight numbers you're used to with like Gen 2 paddles, per se, right? Balance point was 236. Overall maneuverability rating, which is 1 to 100, 1 being the lightest paddles, was a 28. That's the beta ripple. So a bunch of super light numbers. The new production level, R1.14, gross weight, 8 ounces. Swing weight of 116. So a jump in 8 points on swing weight. Twist weight was 5.78. So a jump in 0.4-ish in twist weight. The balance point went up for 7 millimeters to 243. And then on the overall maneuverability rating was a 52. So now it falls in the middle of all paddles everywhere. But being an elongated paddle still feels very light. So like I was saying before, for an elongated paddle, I think it still feels pretty light. Would you say?
I thought so, yeah. I like to play the paddle before I even test swing weight and twist weight sometimes. When I first picked it up, I was like, I could add a decent amount of weight to this, and it wouldn't affect me too much.
Yeah, I agree.
So I ended up adding a little bit of weight, and then took it off to test it, put it back on. But
I haven't even.
It's really not.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's really not that like. I would have probably guessed it would have been in like the 30s for maneuverability.
Yeah,
stock.
Me too. Yeah,
somehow.
Yeah, I think so. Even that with a maneuverability rating of 50, so in the middle, I kind of thought it would be lower. It feels really light. Feels light in the hand, but it's more robust feeling than the beta ripple, I think is the difference. When I got them out, was talking to Justin from Pickleball, etc. when I first got these, and I was like, dude, I don't know how these passed PBCoR. There's no difference between them and the betas. Like they're so hot. But I just kind of like hit them lightly, hit some pop, hit a few drives, like hit a few serves against the wall and whatever. They felt the same. They felt no difference. But then during gameplay, the production level ripples, they feel a bit more stable. And they definitely hit harder on drives. And that might be just because they have more weight, so they can have more plow through power or something. But I talked to Dong, so if the beta ripples, if you ran your hand across them, especially after you got some ball dust on them, you could feel like the waves going across, right?
Yeah.
These new ones, if I convince myself, I can kind of see like the lines of where, something is in the core. I can't really quite feel the lines, maybe, but it feels pretty flat. So Dong says that they did one, reinforce the edge of the paddle. So they had a bunch of they had some edge guard issues that now they've taken care of. And then two, they minimized manufacturer variance. It's like, well, what does that mean? Like, why would that account for this different look in the face? And he's like, well, there's a ton of small things that go into that. One, it's made of a carbon fiber grid type core with like EVA foam in between. It's like a consistency in the size of that, the orientation of that, how much foam we put in the middle, a couple other things. And he's like, and also, worker training, going over there and walking them through this process and making sure everybody's on the same page, all kind of equates to now what we have here with sort of a more robust paddle. And I'm not sure how that really explains that, but that's his explanation. Overall, if you've played with the beta ripples, this is very similar, only that it's going to hit harder on drives. It's not quite as light in the hands, but a little bit bigger sweet spot than even the beta R1.14s have. I did forget to mention the R2s, those are not coming out at the same time as the R1.14s. The R2.14s, supposedly I heard they also had approval, but that Dong has not gotten a written confirmation that they passed that testing. That's my understanding, and that's what he's saying. He tells me. And so we should not expect that any sooner than at least March because of, the whole, Chinese New Year and stuff. Everything shuts down right about now. So they're not going to be making more paddles. And until he gets that written approval, he's not going forward with the R2s. So we have this. All right. Next on our list, we've got the Avoura Rhapsody 13. This is an interesting one. It's got a brand new shape. This is a Gen 1, Gen 1 paddle, overall length. What is it? It's like 15.5 inches total length, right?
Yeah. I think it's like very similar dimensions to the Honolulu J4, where it's like 15.5 long, like 8.3 or 8.5 inches wide. But this is like obviously like rounded almost. It reminds me of a ping pong paddle, honestly. Yeah,
it's got the kind of the angly bottom, and then it's kind of round a little bit, and then it angles again, and then it's round. And the whole idea with this is they wanted, or Steve Dawson, the guy who previously, I believe, founded ProConnex, right, or at least helped design to some degree the Black Ace paddles, wanted to make the paddle with the biggest sweet spot. Did he do it? Do you think, Cody? Is this the biggest sweet spot?
In my opinion, I think the J4 barely has it beat. But I would say this paddle feels better in the hands. I didn't get as many weird looks using this paddle.
That's true, yeah. It wasn't obvious that you were like about to go flip pizza with this one. Yeah,
exactly.
Good point.
And it was more maneuverable, I think.
Yeah, it's very light. It's a really light paddle.
Yeah. The shape is a little bit more aerodynamic, but yeah, as you talked about, the one thing that they really emphasized in how they made it, and if you took the grip off, you would see it, is how they integrated the throat into the handle. So like, you know, a normal paddle, it's like gets really wide where it funnels into the paddle face. This goes directly into the handle, so you can really grab and choke up higher on like tuis, and it won't feel as comfortable. Like where your middle finger and thumb go, right around that is a lot more comfortable, I would say, than on a normal paddle, where I'm going to be like, you know, wrapping around the same area with my hand up higher on that throat. But it's just, yeah, you can get a lot better grip on the Avoura.
I suppose that's subjective, whether it's better or not. Like whether you prefer like an abrupt angly shift. I think,
yeah.
So this is it's a Gen 1 paddle, so it's not thermoformed. They have, you know, some perimeter weighting with like metallic, you know, component infused into the perimeter. You know, I don't know if it's exactly, you know, putty or whatnot, but that's what they use to increase the twist weight and stability of this paddle. And swinging it feels a lot like, to me, it feels a lot like a Gen 1 paddle. It's, for better or worse, it's got a lot of flex to it. It reminded me a lot of the new Engage Encore V2.0 that they came out with, in the way that it felt with its flex. Like if I swung really hard, which I do for better or worse, because I don't have that great a form, I did feel, I was like, oh gosh, like, am I gonna break the paddle? It's definitely more control oriented, and spin was good. Like these little blue like ridges you see here, those are probably not super functional, but they're definitely textured. You can feel them. And then the face itself is super, super nice feeling. It's super textured. So spin is good, and control is good, but it's pretty low on power, so it's definitely a control paddle. I thought the sweet spot was fine. I thought it was good for what it is. Probably like, I thought it was average, to be fair. But really, I have a big complaint with the handle. So in addition to the flex, which is subjectively good or bad, I haven't unwrapped it yet, but you can, if you squeeze in kind of typical Gen 1 fashion, you squeeze. I do. You feel that?
Now I do.
Yeah, for people who squeeze the handle hard.
Until you said it, I did not realize that.
Yeah, the edges squish in quite a bit, and in fact, like they're kind of, you feel the edge of the face part of it, not the exposed part, but it's kind of sharp where it cuts off. And I was just kind of feeling it, and I like kind of squishing it, and it almost like caved in on me, and I like kind of bent it, just not even squishing that hard. And so I don't think it's a high quality handle. I think they need to do more to reinforce the handle, and then it plays fine, but it lists for what is it, like $220, and then
$225, yeah, and then
somewhere right there,
discount code, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
I'll say
that's quite expensive. Yeah.
Do you think the grip is also super like thick as well?
Yes, the grip is thick.
I think it's just whatever they use for that like stock grip is just really dense and thick. It would be hard for me to put an overgrip on this because it's about at the diameter or the circumference that I typically like wrap up to. So I would need to take the stock grip off and then put one or two of my own grips on there or something.
Yeah. The problem with that though is like if you so they put a thick grip on here, I almost wonder because of that exposed edge of the handle. If you take a thick grip off, and put a thinner one on, you for sure would feel the edge of that handle.
Yeah. And I'll say so now, I did not even realize that it had that exposed polymer until you pointed it out, and I was like, oh, you're right.
Yeah, and in today's age, you got to find a way around that, I think. So I think that's something that could probably change. That's something they could probably adjust in some kind of way. I don't know. I'm not a paddle manufacturer, but people find a way around it with more robust, coverings of that in Gen 1 paddles. But then I will say the one redeeming quality that makes it so like I could potentially recommend this paddle is the fact that they do have a 30-day satisfaction return policy. So if you want to try it and you don't like it, you can send it back and they'll refund your money. So You're not locked in if you buy it. And if you want to try it, cool, you can, and you can send it back. So that in that regard, I'm like, okay, we're working with something. We're working with something. Otherwise, I'd say like, you know, you can find as good or better sweet spots elsewhere for less money. But I mean, I liked playing with it. It's just kind of expensive, and I can't.
Yeah.
I don't like working with that handle. So
Yeah.
okay, moving on. We do have what many people have been asking for, the Honolulu's first power paddles. We've got the production level models of the J2K Plus. This one is 100% Kevlar. It's Gen 3, so it's got a double foam perimeter, and then the J2Ti Plus. This is their, you know, polyester carbon fiber blend paddle. Again, Gen 3, it's got the 2 foam perimeters. So these are really interesting. And you don't have them yet, correct?
Not yet.
One thing that's interesting about these, I've kind of, now that Gen 3 paddles are more and more of a thing, they kind of have a typical feel where they almost maybe a little bit feel Gen 3 at first, and over a couple play sessions, they feel more loose, they feel more compressing and poppy. But the difference in the way that these two are constructed is, I think, quite directly relatable to how they play right off the start for me. So the Yolas, like the 3S and several other Gen 3 paddles, they have kind of that diving board core look to them, to where they have, you know, a full perimeter of foam, and then they have like a diving board or like a peninsula of foam. These have the outside perimeter of foam, and then they've got a full circle of foam in the core. And I mean, I'm open to being corrected if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding of how they're constructed. And I assume I'm going to be cutting one of these open soon enough. But because they're built like that, they're a little bit more floaty feeling, like right off the bat. And that's probably the best way I'd describe it is I feel like the center of them compresses and moves back and forth, kind of like what you would expect a Gen 3 paddle to do almost right away. Which is very nice. It's a very pleasant feel. And for a 100% Kevlar paddle like the J2K is, it was much more plush feeling than I expected. I was testing them on the same day as the Carbon True foams. I had these. I had the Ripple. So side by side, those ones, they're not as powerful. They're definitely not as powerful. And the prices and whatnot have not totally been worked out for these yet. But they're definitely a step up in power from the regular J2K and the regular J2Ti. But they're not going to be they're not going to be Ripples, and they're not going to be, you know, True Forms or 3Ss or mods or whatever. But they're going to be probably one of the Gen 3 paddles people are going to play best with. If you look at so I measured the swing weight and twist weight of these. So on the J2K Plus, our swing weight was 116 and twist weight was 7.2, which is interesting because that's a swing weight higher than the Gen 2 J2K, and a twist weight that is right about the same and maybe even higher. It's very close. And on the J2Ti, the swing weight was 117 and twist weight was 7.33. So I'm sure that's higher. So both swing weight and twist weight were a little bit higher on these, which is usually the opposite direction you go when you start adding foam to the cores of paddles. But I really liked the way that these felt, the way that they compressed. I've had them for probably not long enough to say what their durability is going to be like. Several sessions that I've played with them so far, and I haven't noticed any huge changes in how they perform. I was
going to say, there's been like a break-in. Yeah,
a little, but nothing different than what I would expect a normal paddle to have as far as getting hotter or not and whatnot. But I think time will tell, so I'll update as we go. But if it follows anything like what Honolulu has done in the past, these will probably be as cheap as they can get. Heck, I don't know. But I'll let you guys know what the break-in is like and what the durability is like after this. And hopefully they come out with some good prices like they have with all their other paddles, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, sweet spots are huge. Maybe on the border of all court and power. Spin was good and control was good. It's not the peak of power, but it's more powerful than the first ones.
Okay. Would you say that they're kind of more like along the lines of the Pulse series? Where it's not like question. It's not going to be like power, but more controlled, where you have the availability for power on drives when you need it, but more on like the all court side.
That's a great question. That's a good comparison too. Man, I should probably take them out and hit them side by side to be able to tell. That's a really good comparison.
I was gonna say,
they're probably pretty close. I think compared to the Pulse S, I think the sweet spot on these are probably bigger than the Pulse S. I think they literally have a wider face, and they're more forgiving.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if they hit as hard or not, which would make me say they're probably more all court than power. But that's a really. I'll get out there and test. That's a great comparison.
I think. And then throw the Electo Gen 3 in there as well. Another Kevlar Gen 3 paddle.
Yeah. That's good too. Yeah, and probably right around that same genre of playstyle. These feel a little bit more Gen 3-esque, I would say, than the Electo did, as far as their being able to compress and recoil and stuff. But in the same ballpark. These are good. Okay. Moving on to our last paddle / company of products today. A couple of first looks for us in terms of paddles, and then another cool bag that's kind of unique compared to the other bags that we've looked at here. So 2 paddles from Bash Pickleball, a couple of edgeless paddles hitting the streets. The Scorcher, I believe this one's called. Again, I haven't had a chance to play with it. You can see my wrap still on it, but we've got some designs on the front. This one is 3K carbon fiber, right? And it feels even on the picture, it feels textured. And then the other one, we've got another one here from them too, right? This is the Lucky.
I think this is like, I think the Scorcher. I think this is like that like spray on grit. At least it reminds me of spray on grit. But it's super gritty. And then the Lucky.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, this one feels
carbon fiber though.
Yeah, this one feels kind of classic, carbon fiber feel. I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet if this is going to be if what K this is, if it's 18K or what, but it feels very nice. And then
12K.
Feeling this now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not convinced. There's definitely a ton of grit on there. I don't know if that's if that's totally spray on or not, but we'll see. I'll do some research and see what the longevity of that is, but don't know how it plays, but they look cool. And then what I'm really excited about so far, even more so than the paddles, which I just don't know yet, is the bag. And Cody and I each got one, and Cody has a different looking one than I do. And I think the color choices between the two of us were probably good picks. Cody, the military man, got the navy colored scheme, and I got the white one. And these are unique, different than other pickleball bags that we've had so far. Because these are very robust bags. Very military-esque looking, and they're not the typical like, you just open a pouch and put your paddles in type bag.
No, there's some really cool features in this, and it's like part of me wants to like make this my like work backpack because of how like sturdy and whatnot it feels, because I have to have my laptop with me and everything. But it just feels very heavy duty. But yeah, it's got like the patches and everything, the Velcro. So if you're like have those military patches, you can throw those on here.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is probably right up your alley. I saw the Velcro stuff with the flag you can take on and off, and I'm like, oh, Cody's probably freaking loving this.
Yeah. I wasn't like I was never like boots on the ground. I was in the Navy. I was boots on a ship. So I
sure.
But so here's like the front, the very front full flap pocket, whatever you want to call it. Has some spots you can put accessories, whatever in here, right? But then the next one, sorry, I'm getting away from Mike.
Man, the pockets on this
next
never ends, which I really like. Keep going.
Yeah,
though.
This one is like full. It goes the complete perimeter of the bag, like all the way to the bottom. Opens up. So if you hang this, on a fence at the court and you drop it down and open it, it's massive, right? Really cool. There's zippers on the top and bottom of each one of these pockets.
So I'm glad you said that. I would not have noticed that detail. It fully opening.
When I first saw this,
yeah.
When I first saw this, I was like, "That's genius." Because when it's hanging on a fence like this, you can open it from the bottom, grab whatever it is, right?
Dude, that's nice.
And then if it's not hanging on the
fence, I'll say,
right?
I remember when we were talking about the grooving bags, and you were like, I made you pick a bad thing about the bag, and you're like, oh, it has only one hook.
Yeah.
And these have two hooks. These have two hooks.
Swivel.
What do you freaking know? Is there a bag made
looking.
More perfectly for Cody on Earth?
Man.
I do not know.
I really like this bag.
Yeah, I like it too. It's
if it held more paddles, which I think it actually might be able to. I'm gonna do like a stress test and see how many paddles I can shove into this thing.
Yeah, look at Cody's Instagram, the Carpe Diem Instagram. I'm sure he'll post like, we could all take over-unders on how many paddles he can fit in there.
Should I do another guess how many paddles? Did you ever see that one that I did?
Yeah, I got my ass kicked.
I had the duffel bag.
You thought my guess was stupid.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, I can't remember what it was, but you just like, really, you think that was your guess? And I was like, what is bad about that guess? We don't need to talk about it, but whatever it was, you laughed in my face. He won't laugh in your face.
The weight,
but he laughed in my face. Was it weight? Whatever it was.
I said the weight because you guessed like 60 paddles, and then you guessed that it was gonna be like 20 pounds, and I'm like, isn't the average weight of paddles like 8 ounces? So whatever the number of paddles, it should be half.
I'm not even listening. I'm not even listening to your logic. I'm not even listening to it. I'm not even listening. I'm not even listening to it. But as far as like some pros, like not even functional wise of this bag. So it's pretty fair priced. It's $65. I haven't even checked if they do discount codes or not, but if they do, I'll put it on the screen here. It's not a super light bag, like we said before. It's pretty robust. It's heavy duty. This thing is gonna stand the test of time, I'm sure. But if you want a really light bag and you don't want something that's, like freaking military grade heavy, this is probably not the bag that you want. It feels about how it looks. You can look at it and probably guess how it feels.
Yeah.
It's not overly heavy, but it's just solid. It's just solid material. And that's what I'll say. I would use it as a day bag or a bag if I had, a few paddles. I wouldn't use it for like the 10 paddles that I usually take to the court at a time, but it's got a computer pouch and whatnot. So that's what I think.
Yeah. And it's got like if you ever need to like run away from someone while wearing this bag, no, but like you could take this bag like hiking or whatever, right? Because it's got the chest strap and then it's got the waist strap as well. So the one that goes across your chest and the one that goes across your waist to keep this up against you, so you're not like just pickleball. No, like you could use this for just about anything.
Yeah, I like it because it's not generic pickleball bag.
Awesome.
There's a lot of generic pickleball bags, and this isn't one of them. And there's going to be people who this is for, and I like that. Okay, I think that's all we got for the 6th episode of the PBMED podcast, and the last virtual podcast that we'll have, at least for now. Look for Cody and I to try and do something in person. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but lives make this sort of thing too hard. So not 100% sure what I'm going to do moving forward, but we'll see, and we'll go from there. But otherwise, it's been awesome, Cody. If you guys haven't already, go follow him on Instagram, look for his reviews and videos and all that stuff, and make sure you know how okay you think he is.
I'm definitely going to be stepping up and doing a lot more reviews here soon. I've ordered a lot of knickknacks and gadgets to help with those.
Okay.
Because I realized how far behind I am in production quality and everything. So yeah, I'm going to try to get a lot more reviews out. They're probably not going to be like long, in-depth reviews, but it's just going to be like first impressions and or like minute and a half 2-minute reviews just to get you like a good idea of the paddle. Because I mean, a lot of the times people know within the first 10, 15 hits if they're gonna like a paddle or not. So I feel like a lot of the times people will know within the first minute or two of a review whether they're gonna like the paddle or not. That's all it really takes, right?
Yeah, well, that's fine. We can heckle you for 2 minutes. That's fine. We can hang in there for that.
Yeah.
So, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. And
thank you guys.
We'll catch you when we catch you. And otherwise,
appreciate
it. Everybody take care and thanks again.
Thank you.